welcome back to weekly crypto market recap number 5 this time, right? 6?
5 or 6. I think 6. I think last
Yeah, I
time we
think
made
so.
a mistake and it was already number 5. So I think this is
Yep,
6.
yep, there we go. All right. Yeah, so yeah, it's Icarus back, Alexandria, and myself, AI Zoro. Is gonna go over some of the things that not just happening in the last week, but just some topics that that we wanted to discuss that's related to the current market conditions, environment, you can call it. Is just the way that like the tokenomics, or even people creating these tokens, like how they're structured, aligning with like what the company is pretty much doing and what they're producing. So let's just
Right.
let's, let's just kick it off. So this person posted 35 business ideas of how Web3 can improve or disrupt the most successful companies. And it was pretty interesting how they just, it's not like they went over some of the ones that like is already being done, like Curve and their tokenomics, or Chainlink and their tokenomics, and so on. It's directly to traditional companies and seeing how a token can be released that will, and then the tokenomics could be aligned with that company's like essentially what they're producing. And like some of the examples here is like Amazon Logistics, you know, Facebook, Google, Costco, and like it's pretty interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it will depend on how they obviously release the token. But what I gathered from like most of these that I went through so far is, to me, the only way this will be sustainable and not like just um, basically a valueless token is if the business essentially is willing to give a part of their profit to their customers.
Right.
And you could see this as a form of marketing or customer retention, whatever you want to call it. But I think that's very interesting. And there was one, right, yeah, the Costco one I think was very good, where I think this might actually be one of the more sustainable ones in the list, where the idea is just that the store or the company Costco sells an NFT one time to the customers, the users, and then the users obviously get the benefits that come with the NFT. So I don't know, like what do they get? Like maybe
They get access to Costco to even be able to buy.
yeah, maybe I would say probably as Costco, you don't want to limit it to only NFT holders, right? So you might say
Sure.
NFT holders get discounts, or they get maybe early access to a sale or something like that. But then also the NFT holders can rent out their NFT for any period of time to people on the secondary market. Um, if they don't want to use it that day or that week, right? Like, let's say you're on a vacation outside of the US, uh, and let's say that's 3 weeks that you could rent that NFT to someone else. Then you could say, like, all right, for some reduced price of what normally the benefits would be of having that NFT, I'm willing to rent out that NFT, and then someone else can just kind of arbitrage it. Let's say the discounts on average are, let's say, I don't know, $100 a month, right? Then you could say, all right, I will rent out my NFT for, let's say, $70 a month, and then someone who frequently shops at Costco uh, will want that NFT, because then on average, they're probably better off not buying the NFT directly from Costco, but just renting it from someone that already has it, but at that certain time doesn't need it. So I think that one is a really good idea. Um,
Hmm.
Also because I feel like this is one where like the company doesn't have to have super inflationary tokenomics, like maybe some of these other ideas that I've seen.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's true.
it's interesting. But what do
No,
you think?
it really is because like even BJ's, Costco, uh, which one was it? Like there's a couple others that replicate the same model where like you would literally need to purchase the membership to then have access to the to be able to shop at the store, and like
Right.
and then you also get sometimes like these coupon books and everything, and like this NFT idea, like you would even need to go and buy the NFT, like them like essentially minting it for you, or it just represents that. Like you just go in to buy a membership as normal, and then they mint you this NFT, and then you could be able to rent it out. That's pretty genius because like even that like just a regular way of just getting the membership, you can't really like allow other people to use it. Like you
Yeah.
could give them your membership so then they could show that, I mean scan that whenever they go to the register and everything, but like then you don't have access to it, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a way for like it allows anybody to be able to use it like anywhere without even
Yeah.
having to like depend off like another person that already has it to then get get it to then use it, and it's pretty cool. And like I agree, like this can bring in a lot of customers for Costco because like it wouldn't be limited to the users that go and let's say bought the membership for the year or whatever, so
Yeah, and
it's
I think you might also see more competition between companies because
mhm.
like Costco is like a supermarket, right?
Yeah, like a really huge supermarket.
Right. So I don't really know what other kinds of supermarkets you have, but let's say there's a there's a competitor of theirs um, that also wants to do something like this. I think you'll
Mm,
see, especially if it's an area where there's a lot of supermarkets competing, then
mm,
they're all gonna kind of up the benefits um, for the user, so that
right.
more people will shop at their store. And actually, it's funny now that I talk about it. You actually already have something like this in the Netherlands,
Really?
because yeah, kind of because like the Netherlands is super densely populated, um, and there's just so many supermarkets competing for basically very uh, small territory, if you
Hmm.
could call it that, right? So that's why usually if you compare it to other places, the prices are pretty low to like other Western European countries, because if let's say you're going to France, then there's maybe one really huge supermarket in a very large area, and you can get everything that you need there, but it doesn't have to compete with other supermarkets, so it can raise prices a bit.
Yeah.
Um, but so in the Netherlands, you already have like a sort of memberships, or like at least know one store has had it for a really long time, where you can just get kind of like this key hanger with a barcode, and
Yeah.
then if there's then basically every week there's different things on sale, right? So you get, if you scan this key hanger, if you scan the barcode that's on it, you get a discount, and otherwise you don't get the discount.
Mm,
And if you fill in all your personal details, you even get like um, sometimes you get discounts based on your shopping behavior. So if let's say you buy, I don't know, let's say tomatoes like every week at least a few times, right? Then
yeah.
probably after some time, um, you're probably gonna get tomatoes on discount at least every once in a while, because it knows like, you buy that regularly, so it's useful for you to have a discount on that. And then they do that every once in a while just to keep you as a customer. And I think now also, um, one other big supermarket did something similar, but um, yeah. So basically, you already see this happening, and now the only difference is that it obviously is in the form of an NFT, and you it's also not like it's free, so there's not really a need to rent something like this sort of membership, because you can just ask the cashier, like, hey, can I get a membership, and they'll
Yeah,
give you
exactly.
one. But yeah, I can definitely see something developing, like what the person wrote here, of like
Yeah, I agree.
Costco.
Because what you were saying reminds me of like in Walgreens or CVS, like you get these barcodes that you like you when you're signing up for like a rewards card or whatever, just so then you could
Right.
get the discounts that they're offering from whatever products in that day. And like, yeah, I agree with you. Like it's like NFTs can enable this like even further. Like BJ is like a Costco competitor. It's not only like a like that's what they call these different stores like Costco, BJ's, like a wholesale supermarket where you can go there and you're buying
Right.
super
Yeah.
and like BJ specifically offer like they have that plus they have like a gas station and like a tire shop as well, right? And like in this scenario, like if I had the BJ's NFT and like I rented it out, like people would want to rent it out just so then they could get the discount at the gas station at BJ's because they offer such a big discount in comparison to the other gas stations.
Yeah.
And also, let's just say they wanted to get tires or whatever of the sort. You know, it's pretty interesting how like this can be used, and I find it really cool.
Yeah, um, I think a good example of a company that's probably in a good position to do something like this is obviously Amazon, and I think
Yeah,
the woman also mentioned. I
that's so
mean, she
true.
mentioned Amazon Logistics, but if you look at Amazon Prime, like
Yeah,
you pay a small amount per year, I think, right? And then you get uh, what is it, like faster shipping or something like that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but obviously you could also do this for, like you said, the kind of the bigger stores, like you said, where especially if you have like uh, like different services that you offer,
mm,
where it's almost like a whole ecosystem, right? Or that's kind of, in my eyes at least, the end goal, that you want people, I think, digitally speaking, like Google and Apple are obviously good examples of this. Like Google obviously wants you to ideally never really have to leave their ecosystem, or
yeah,
um, I mean, Facebook is kind of as well.
yeah,
Th- there might, I can't really think of a physical example for now, but basically, if you have to pay for all these different stores that are kind of under the same umbrella, and
mm,
let's say you can get a discount at all of them with this one single NFT, then
yeah.
obviously people uh, really benefit by having that NFT. So yeah, I could really see that
I
being a
agree.
big thing.
Like even like NFTs that is like it's not even like the same company, but they are related. Like an
Right,
NFT that does Costco, BJ's, all these things at the same time, and like how you're saying, like it that would be really cool because then like especially renting it out because then like someone could rent it out just to get access for one of the different products. It's not
right,
limited.
yeah, yeah,
And that's yeah, and I agree. It's pretty cool. Like really cool. I kind of like the the Amazon logistics one. It makes sense like having like warehouses everywhere, and then the drivers being able to just go and pick up and store things on these different places. It reminds me of like oh, I remember we used to talk about this other project that was trying to do something with like waste and like renewable energy and everything.
right.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it also reminds me a bit about, I think, maybe last week or like a while back, I talked about this, where someone from India told me there was this app which was kind of a sort of more decentralized Uber Eats, I feel like, but it was basically that you could just order like a driver to pick up something from somewhere and
Mm,
then come get it for you. But he said like it even went as far as like, let's say the new iPhone is released, right? There are
mm,
always huge lines, like super long lines, and he said like, yeah, you could just tell someone to go stand in line for you, buy something, let's say it's the iPhone, right, and then deliver it to you. And of course, you would have to pay them by, I don't know, probably the hour or maybe even a smaller
yeah,
time frame. But that's kind of insane if you think about it. And
yeah,
this is kind of the same thing, I think, where there's no like centralized storage facility or anything, but it's
right.
just like, all right, pick up this one thing and bring it to this other point, which is
Yeah.
super cool if you think about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, there's this there's this app here called GoPuff, where like they would go buy these different products from these different stores and then have it in their warehouse. So they're delivery drivers instead of like on Uber Eats, where you like if you order something from a specific store, then you have
Yeah,
to find like drivers around that area to then go pick it up to then bring it to you. For
right.
GoPuff, they already have it at the warehouse, so the drivers they just go from the warehouse or they just go to the warehouse to pick up your stuff to then bring it to you every time. And like this it's interesting how that like so like they went from Uber Eats to thinking of different ways that like it's using this model. Like there's another one called Postmates that like it's saying what you're saying, where like it's like instead of it just being restaurants, it's like everything. You just tell them to go to a specific thing to buy like something from that store, and then they go buy it and bring it to you. And it's really cool to see that. And like I hope to really see like a more decentralized like Uber Eats that does that, and like the drivers make majority of the money because I mean they are
Yeah,
the ones doing it.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that would be that would be quite good. But again, I think this kind of comes down to if a company wants to essentially split the revenue with,
right.
I guess, the stakeholders. And obviously a company is not gonna choose for that completely voluntarily. So I think
Yeah,
they basically have to, there has to be a competitor that introduces this model and is then able to either attract more customers or is way more profitable. So they're somewhat forced to do this, because otherwise I
yeah,
think the chances are very high, or at least it seems to me, that a company would not really be incentivized to just switch to this model, because obviously the more revenue they get, the better it is for them, and the
right.
shareholders as well. So yeah, it will be
Yeah,
interesting to see how this develops.
yeah, I
Also,
agree.
the Comcast example, I think, was pretty
Oh yeah,
interesting,
yeah,
where
because it's very interesting.
yeah, where they say like, all right, if you're able basically to contribute to the network, having like a larger Wi-Fi network, more Wi-Fi coverage, then you also earn a portion of the fees. And I think that is really um, a good example of something,
Yep.
uh, how something like that could work, because then it's not just like, all right, yeah, we want to have more customers, so or we hope to keep more customers or attract more customers, so we're essentially giving away free money in the form of whatever, right, like tokens or discounts through an NFT. But it's more of like, all right, if you um, as a user of our product are able to um, help basically spread the reach of this product, it's almost like a commission, right? Because
Yeah.
then it's like, all right, then you also earn a portion of the fees, which is exactly um, like physically almost what they're doing. Like if you if you add to the coverage of the Wi-Fi network, then obviously more people can use it. So Comcast
Right.
is able to attract more users, and then you also earn a portion of the fee. So I think that that model is really good.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, like Comcast is doing this already. Like they're taking advantage of everybody that, like, they have like an internet box at their house. Like as soon as you set it up, like it's already giving that like coverage. Like if you have Xfinity, like if you already have Xfinity, right? Like you could log in using your credentials and you have access to Xfinity Wi-Fi like anywhere that, like, someone has like a box in their
Right.
house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like they're already like kind of taking advantage of those people because like those people are having it in their house, giving coverage for other people to be able to use it, and they're not getting any money from that. And like I get it, like, like the only way a user is going to be able to connect to that network wherever it is, like you would need to first like be a Xfinity like customer already. So you would have to have the credentials to then get access. But like they also have like a way where like you don't even need to be a user. You could just pay like $10 for like 2 hour access or whatever like that. And like
Jesus, that is expensive. Holy
you
shit.
see what I'm saying? So like they're making a lot of fucking money, and like it would make sense for this model.
I pay
And like
about $10 for the whole month.
bro, bro, same. That's what I'm saying. Like it's they should be able to do this because like bro, I, I'm telling you, like it's crazy. Like I used to look at the Xfinity Wi-Fi. Like they have like this chart that shows like all the coverage in the areas,
Right.
and it's and like in obviously in the city, that it's gonna be like a bunch of people using like Xfinity or whatever. There's just it like covers everything, and like it's just funny that just they're just making money even if like the people are not even like customers to them. They would just
Yeah.
still charge them a premium to just use their network. And the ones that providing the coverage isn't even getting incentivized to do it. If anything, they're paying just to use that box, and then they're
Yeah.
just yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, let's say for some reason, right, you're hypothetically in an area where you're one of the few providers, and suddenly that area gets super busy and a lot of
Mm,
people use your network. Now I'm
yeah,
no like network expert or anything, but then your internet gets slower, right? So it's kind of messed up if you think about it, that you would
yeah,
not benefit in any way.
yeah. That's why the thing is they advertise to say 1 gigabyte, but in reality it's like around half because you're
Yeah.
you're giving it away, like how you're saying, and that's where it's fucked up because you're paying for the full gigabyte. I don't know, but like the thing is, I like this model, and who's doing it is Helium, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and like they still haven't really come out with like the full Wi-Fi coverage capability for like phones, but like they have like the Wi-Fi coverage for like Internet of Things, like a Siri or Alexa or things like that, and like it's pretty cool, and they're moving to the Wi-Fi thing, and it's not just Wi-Fi; it's like 5G towers, and like I really like that because like right now there's no 5G towers anywhere, and like it's very expensive, and those
Yeah.
towers they don't really cover too much, but like Helium, the way that they're doing it, it would be replicating the Xfinity Wi-Fi model, where it would just be everywhere. So then you would have 5G everywhere and also Wi-Fi, and the ones that's actually having the box set up in their house, they're actually making money. So that's really great.
Yeah. I mean, for me it's basically the more like critical infrastructure like this can be decentralized, the better it
Mm.
is. So
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
yeah, I don't even really care if other people make money from it. Like
Hmm.
if one company gets super big doing this, but the network is essentially run by its users,
Yep.
and it's like sustainable, then I'm all for it, even if I don't make any money, right? Because it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just way better, especially. for something like infrastructure, I feel like if it's more decentralized, that's always
Yeah.
going to be better, especially now in times um, where you see like peace is not really guaranteed, I would say, and
Yeah.
not to get all dramatic or something, but I feel like
No, it's true.
Europe, especially, uh, pretty much for as long as I've lived, and probably also my parents' generation, has kind of lived under the assumption of like, ah, yeah, no, after the Second World War, we kind of solved war, and now it's just only peace, right? And as nice as that sounds, obviously, if you look at history, that's not realistic at all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, anything that kind of um, makes the whole system less vulnerable is good in my opinion.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that. It's definitely necessary. I mean, like if Xfinity was like, oh yeah, we don't want to allow a certain amount of people or a certain like people that live in this region or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
they can do it. They could just shut
yeah,
things off and that's it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because I think we were talking about this a little while back. Like if you think about it, even if let's say a protocol is completely decentralized,
Mm,
99.9, maybe even 99.99% of people would just be completely lost without a front end, right? Like if they
yeah.
took down the front end, then good luck getting your stuff out of,
Uh,
let's say, I don't know, a Uniswap pool or
right.
paying back an Aave loan. Like it's obviously possible, and there are people who could do it, but
Hmm.
me included, I would not be able to do something
Yeah.
like that. And
Same.
yeah, that's obviously far from ideal. So I hope I hope more decentralization takes place, and like
Yeah.
yeah, we could kind of solve these underlying problems somehow, because now the more you think about it and the more you realize it, like even if one critical element is completely centralized, that's already too big, big of a risk.
Yeah. Seriously. Because everything else is depending on how decentralized the whole entire platform is. So if
Yeah,
one piece of it is centralized, then like it'd be exploited in some way.
yeah, it's kind of like the weakest link
Right.
analogy. um yeah, again, like if let's say the front end is completely centralized, or if the majority of nodes in a network are hosted on AWS, something like that, I've actually thought a bit about. And
Yeah.
like then it's not really decentralized, right? Because then if Amazon goes offline for even a short period of time, then yeah, you see kind of the negative consequences of that. So
No,
uh
I like that's the whole big push of like Web3, and people really don't get that. Is that like if you have a website that's running on AWS, and like let's just say your government doesn't support it,
yeah,
they just
good
call
luck.
Amazon, and
Right,
then your
yeah, yeah,
website's gone.
yeah,
But if you have a decentralized application on Ethereum or any other of these EVM blockchains, like you're gonna have a little more like security at least, you know. But there's
yeah,
still ways to go, like how you're saying with the front end, of course. But at least like the back end is at least like
yeah.
safe in some
I
regard.
think I think maybe you could host a. Can you host a front end on like IPFS? Or I think you could do it, right?
Yeah, probably. I feel like it's gonna be some hurdles, some more hurdles
Oh
probably.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, shit, if you can do it, I feel like everybody should be doing it. If you're, but you know how it is, most won't really do it. But at least the ones that are serious about decentralization and you know everything in that regard, then they should definitely at least have the front end or everything at least mostly to decentralize, or at least if we're thinking about the spectrum, it should be at least moving more towards
Yeah,
decentralization rather than the opposite.
yeah, because after the, I guess after kind of the front end, if let's say like your Oracle is decentralized, your backend, or the just I mean, if you're running on a blockchain, there's hopefully
Yeah.
not that much backend needed, but like then the only thing that could really be kind of fucked is, let's say, I guess maybe from a browser perspective, but if you're working on, let's say, some open source browser, I
Mm.
think Opera was open source, right? Or um,
It's Chromium. It's
Chromium, right? So I don't know if, yeah, I mean Brave is based on Chromium, but I
yeah.
feel like they could still kind of mess with that. Um,
Yeah, I wish
but yeah,
Brave was open source, and I mean their mod was it's pretty good, but
yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, definitely if you're working on Linux or something, then if the front end is decentralized, then I think you're pretty much good to go.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Man, I was gonna say like another example that I found pretty interesting was the Netflix one, where like it would airdrop
Right.
the Netflix tokens to all the users, and then the users can stake those tokens on like their like favorite show, mainly shows. It makes sense, or even movies. Let's say for sequels, but like
Yeah.
essentially any of the content that they like, and then they would earn a portion of the like the revenue from streaming, and at the same time it would like no, it would like the Netflix could then focus, or anybody else that's collaborating with Netflix could then focus on like like funding that specific like show or movie, because they understand that like the majority of the users on the Netflix platform is leaning towards like these specific shows and movies,
Yeah.
so like it would make more sense. And like
What's funny, or not funny, but like interesting about that example, I think, is that it's almost kind of like investing with an extremely large group just solely based on popular demand, right? Like,
yeah,
in a way, then users are almost like investors in the sense that
yeah,
their kind of starting capital, you could see it as just the monthly fee they pay as a subscription to Netflix.
yeah,
And with that money, Netflix then obviously bundles that and makes, let's say, a new sequel to a movie or like a new TV show, and then the most popular TV shows get like another season or something because the most users stake their tokens. But
yeah,
then it would be interesting to see um, like what happens if you, let's say, stake your tokens to a show that's super niche and obscure.
mm,
um, do you then just get nothing, or if no sequel or no season 2 is made, or do you even lose your stake? Because if you lose your stake, that would be very interesting, I think, because then or maybe a better way to do it would be like giving you tokens each month, and then after the month your tokens just disappear and it doesn't really matter what you stake them with. Because otherwise, I think, let's say you just get tokens one time, right? Let's say for as long as you're still a Netflix subscriber,
mm,
then it could be interesting that if you lose your tokens, if your show or whatever doesn't get a season 2, then I think people would just be more cautious and like
yeah,
stake their tokens with what they think is the most popular thing, and then you would get no variety at all in like a very very stretched out like long term scenario, right? Then let's say everybody would stake their tokens on something like the Kardashians because they think it's the most popular, then you would get almost no variety in shows. Then you would just get more
yeah.
copies of something like the Kardashians and maybe like 10
Shit.
Stranger Things copies, and which, like, for some shows might be interesting to see, but it's also then there would be no variation basically in what people could watch, or like, I mean, yeah, no variation, but just a huge amount of the same stuff, which
Right,
would be
right.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like they would have to like, I think they would like since the users would earn a portion of like the revenue from streaming. Like if you stake on like a, like how you say, like an obscure like niche like TV show or movie or whatever, like you're gonna be earning some of the revenue from that, like from users streaming that specific like show maybe or movie it could be. And because like it's super obscure and nobody knows about it, or even nobody likes it because you're like probably the only one that like it or whatever, you're only gonna be
Yeah,
earning so much.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
like like I don't know, like it like what you're saying could make sense because then like because like users think like, oh yeah, the Kardashians must make the most revenue because people already are going to watching that, then they're just gonna stake it just to earn. So like
yeah,
it'll be definitely interesting to see how they tackle some of these problems. But like, I mean, if someone figures it out, yeah, it could. I see it could replace Netflix. Like imagine like it's like a streaming service that like it's not just Netflix, but like it's like Netflix and all of them combined, and then like these tokens are airdropped to all the users, and then like then you could stake it like on any of the TV shows and movies from all the platforms. That would be pretty
right. Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, just first of all, being able to combine all the platforms would be
Yeah,
amazing, because
seriously.
it would be interesting to see how, let's say, something like Game of Thrones, which is on HBO, would
Mm,
do against, let's say, I don't know, something like Breaking Bad, or um,
yeah, that's
what's
true.
another of kind of those legendary shows. Um, yeah, it would be interesting, because then obviously it's a better user experience if you just have one combined platform where you can just look for any show, or something, because I
Right.
feel like there aren't that many shows that people really would sign up for HBO. But for example, I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
that's true.
seen Atlanta. That's on HBO, I think, and that's super good. But yeah,
I'm
like
gonna have to check it
just,
out.
yeah, it's with Donald Glover.
Okay.
But yeah, it's super funny, but but it's a bit of a shame that that's nowhere else, because I'm not really gonna sign up for just HBO, just for that show.
Yeah,
But
no, that's true. And
yeah,
like the
obviously I would like to watch it. So
yeah,
yeah, that's a bit of a shame.
that's the problem though, because like that's just gonna push people to like some of these like pirating sites, and they're just gonna
Right?
watch
Yeah,
it
yeah,
from those places because they have access to all of them, and it's gonna be for free. And it's funny because like I found this show that's on HBO, and I'm not subscribed to HBO, and like I don't really there's like how you said there's not much to really subscribe to then watch things on HBO for.
right.
Like it's not
Yeah,
really there's not many things. So like it's called the man that fell to earth, something like that. It's a really fucking good, like really really good show, honestly. But like I would have never found that if it wasn't because of me going onto this site that had all these different shows from all these different platforms combined.
right.
So we definitely need that. So I'll be really happy to see someone, come up with like this tokenomics model with something that combines everything. Because yeah, that would definitely be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope we get it sooner than later.
Oh yeah, I agree. And this is gonna be the last one we're gonna go over. I'm gonna post a link to this just so that, like anybody watching in the future, they can come back and review some like the rest of them because some of these are really really good models. But man, like the PayPal one makes the most sense. Like them allowing users to then like be able to use not just DeFi but like KYC DeFi, and then those users can be able to like provide liquidity, all these different things, right? And like because PayPal was let's just say imagine they come out with a wallet or whatever, and like this like MetaMask, how they have like the swapping feature and all that. Like they're just routing like these orders to let's just say Uniswap or whatever. Like they're gonna be earning these fees, and like I could see that being the next step for PayPal, most definitely. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we talked about something sort of similar a little while back, where basically my estimation would be that if these more well established players um, come into the space early enough, and early, let's say, um, is a bit debatable, but early enough that they're more that the newer competitors. So you mentioned like MetaMask, obviously as kind of the competitor here to
Hmm.
PayPal. If PayPal's early enough to the point where MetaMask isn't like able to grow bigger than PayPal, then they
Hmm.
might still have a fighting chance, and then I think really they could take over, or
Yeah.
maybe do some kind of buyout of MetaMask, or do a partnership or whatever. And the same thing, and that's what I mentioned a little while back. I think could happen with like these fiat on ramp services, right? Like if you want to
Yeah.
buy crypto directly through your MetaMask, you have to go through these on ramp services where you can
Right.
buy crypto with, let's say, credit card. And right now, the fees are just horrible, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
there's some of them charging close to 5%, and
Yeah.
that's insane, right? Like, then you have to pay 5%. On top of that, you have to pay Ethereum fees. On top of that, let's say you want to sell it back to fiat uh, after a while, right? Then that's probably, I think it was lower. I think it was lower. So, but let's say that's 1%, right? Then
Yeah.
you're definitely already on a minimum of 5 to 6%, depending a little bit on the services. It could also be a bit lower, to be fair. But then it's just not feasible to do that for let's say a purchase of $100, because then you, with the Ethereum fees, I mean, now it's a little bit calmed down, but let's say in the bull market, you would have to pay maybe fucking 20
Yeah.
$20 just to send something. So then you're already losing 25% of what you
Yeah.
wanted to buy, and then you haven't even done anything with it. So that only
Yeah.
makes sense on like really bigger purchases of, let's say, $1,000 and upwards. And then I
Yeah.
also think these on ramp services have to just directly on ramp to a layer two, like Arbitrum, or
Yep.
maybe
Definitely.
maybe in the future something like CK Sync or whatever.
Right.
But my point is kind of that probably banks, I think, will take this over, because
Yeah.
it's, maybe I have a too much of a simplistic view of this, but it's not like they're doing some magical thing, right? They're just converting some money into crypto, basically. That's
Right. Right.
not the most complicated thing I think ever, and banks already have the licenses.
Yep.
um, they operate at a way bigger scale, so probably they can keep the transaction costs down as well. So if, let's say, right now the fees are anywhere from 3, 4, 5%, something like that, if banks are just able to consistently stay below 1%, then over the longer
Yeah.
term, yeah, I mean, I think that will only take so long before banks then completely take over that aspect. And to get back to your original question, I think that's something where PayPal could operate in a similar manner.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it depends on how quickly they do something like that, because obviously MetaMask already is super well established. So if PayPal waits, let's say 5 more years with implementing something like this, then it's over.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, no, I see that too. I definitely see that. I mean, it's they're already moving towards that. So yeah, let's just see.
Yeah.
Let's let's send it off with with Ethereum and their different phases because everyone thinks like Ethereum is just gonna end right after the merge. Like if that's like the final version of Ethereum, but it's really not. Like
You have to
it's a lot
merge the
more.
surge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge.
I wonder who came up with that.
Has to be Vitalik. Has
Yeah,
to
no,
be.
definitely. Oh shoot! But what do you think? I mean, this is really interesting and gives people a lot of hope, and it gives them a lot more clarity for like what's to come in the near future. Not just for Ethereum, but like the whole space, because of course Ethereum is a leader, so a majority is just gonna follow suit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is really interesting, and this kind of plays a bit into the whole modular blockchain thesis, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and another project in this regard, which is pretty exciting, is Celestia.
yeah,
Um, but I think that's going live somewhere in 2023, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a super strong preference for one blockchain over the other. I have to say, maybe a little bit for Ethereum. It would be nice to see Ethereum succeed,
yeah,
just because,
definitely.
yeah, right. Like just because the other blockchains so far that are kind of um, presented as being an improvement, better, whatever, are mostly just compromising on some aspect of like the scalability trilemma, right? So
Hmm.
Solana goes down every once in a while, for example. I've already mentioned this before, but my
Yeah,
opinion is basically like, yeah, why would you then even keep your money uh, on a blockchain?
right.
If you can access, if you can be absolutely sure that you can access it at all times, then why would you even keep your money in a blockchain? Then you might as well keep it
Exactly.
in a bank, I think. And
Yeah.
um, I mean, there are other examples. To be honest, something like Avalanche, I'm fairly positive about. Like in my experience, that's been
Yeah.
pretty good. But
Yeah. Seriously.
also BNB, even apart from the scams, like it's super centralized. Um,
Yeah.
what else? Like, I mean, I don't have to go through them all, but
Yeah.
basically anything that's able to deliver better scalability without making huge compromises is a win in my book. And I'm not like hell bent on Ethereum doing that, because if a different competitor does that quicker, then in like a good manner, then I'm all for it, because obviously that's going to be better for the whole space. But
Yeah.
I think realistically, like the people who are working on Ethereum are not just lazy and dumb or anything. Like they,
Right.
of course, it takes time, but also these things take time for a reason. So
Exactly. People just
yeah,
think, oh yeah, it's a switch. It's a flip of a switch, and
yeah,
then we have all the things we want. Like it's not. It's not that easy. If it was
yeah,
that easy, I'm pretty sure we would have seen like the blockchain space. When we come to the reality way sooner. Way sooner. So yeah, no, it's. I agree. I mean, what I like from this guy's post, he mentions like Ethereum. I think it's like after it goes through the surge and it comes out in 2023, but like after that they're going to be able to process like 100,000 transactions per second. I would love to see like everybody's argument, like the ones that like are on Solana and all these other
yeah,
blockchains talking about, oh yeah, it's way faster, we process way more transactions. I would love to see the argument after that, because like
yeah,
if Ethereum kind of matches them to a certain degree, at least like it's way faster, then like people are going to be like, okay, then we can't compare it through speed. We have to compare it through security and other metrics that really
Yeah,
would
yeah.
matter. So I can see a lot more people realizing that Ethereum is definitely the way to go over some of these others that are a bit more centralized, and they have a lot more risks associated with them.
Yeah, I think yeah, that sums up my thoughts pretty well. Yeah, I mean, if Ethereum could reach 100,000 transactions per second, I mean, I think
Yeah.
they're already faster than Visa at that point. I think Visa processes
Hmm.
like what, like 40,000 transactions per second.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
around that.
so you could argue definitely that Ethereum also needs to process way more transactions per second because,
Yeah.
um, like, first of all, not the whole world is using Visa, right? Like, it's in Europe, for example, it's not really as big of a thing to use credit cards, so it's not using Visa as much. And, like, I'm not even talking then about um, like Asia and Africa and probably also South America. Um, so obviously it also needs to process more transactions, but I think having that would definitely be a very big milestone.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like the way, how do I say this? So, like, the way I look at it is that like Ethereum transactions compared to Visa doesn't really make sense. Like comparing them, I feel like Visa, like comparing Visa's transactions to like something like a Bitcoin makes more sense because there's like Bitcoin is literally just transacting value back and forth, just like
Yeah,
Visa.
yeah,
Whereas Ethereum is like interacting with smart contracts on these different decentralized applications, so it varies. So I
yeah,
mean,
but that's kind of the also the reason why I'm saying like
yeah,
Ethereum needs to process even way
hundred
more
percent.
transactions than Visa because what's a good example? Well, basically you're also able to sign messages with Ethereum, like
Yeah,
not for everything. Obviously, you have to really sign a message on the blockchain, but yeah, what's a good example? I mean, even trading on a DEX, right? Like that's
yeah,
not normal behavior that you would do with your bank account, or
yeah.
like in the case of Visa with a credit card. But that's
Yeah.
more like if you would compare Visa plus the New York Stock Exchange to Ethereum, for example.
Mm,
So obviously, Ethereum needs to be able to they need to be able to handle like everyday spending by people. Let's say that's just Visa, right? And then you haven't even accounted for all the other things like Mastercard and whatever.
yeah.
Um, but then they also need to be able to facilitate like trading, and then um, maybe if we're talking about NFT trading, that's kind of like a sort of variation on the art market, which
Right.
I mean, NFTs in itself are probably going to be way bigger, I think, than the traditional art market because they can
Yeah,
also
I
do
agree.
like tickets and whatever. So it's even way bigger. But the whole point is that ultimately you might even need an Ethereum that's able to do like a million transactions per second, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I
but
agree.
on the other hand, I would also say that maybe you we need to realize that you don't need a blockchain for everything in the sense
Yeah, that's true.
that sometimes you just see projects, and I don't have a very good example of that now, but sometimes you hear of projects and it's like you're just complicating things so much by using blockchain, and you don't even really seem to have a very good use case for or a really good reason for why you want to use blockchain. So um in that sense also a little bit more skeptical of like projects when it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna launch on blockchain, then it's like, all right, but why?
Right, right. I forgot the shit. Like, like there was a token that was trying to like Like they were gonna get a bunch of used cars or whatever. Like I don't know if they were gonna like resell them and make profit, or they were gonna rent it out. I don't know exactly what they were gonna do, but they had a token and they were like trying to be on the blockchain and all that, and then they ended up rugging because like
Yeah,
regulations and all that.
I think I know which one it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was showed
yeah,
everywhere in 2020. It was pretty
yeah.
funny.
I forgot the name, but um, didn't they have like a bird kind of logo?
Oh no, that's
Maybe
that. I know what you're talking about. You're thinking about Etherix, something like that.
no, no,
Uh,
no. I mean, I forgot. Maybe I'm confused, but yeah,
no,
it's
it's
like
pretty funny.
why?
Yeah.
Why would you need that? Why would anyone need that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, but like, yeah, this is, I mean, it's part of the learning process. Like, some
Yeah,
people are gonna realize, you really don't need all that on the blockchain, and then that's also gonna enable people to realize the things that are really needed on the blockchain, and they're gonna value it a lot more. Like, and that's pretty exciting.
yeah. I think I mean a lot of the financial system could benefit. I think then probably also I don't know, maybe some agreements like super strictly enforceable agreements that you're able to kind of automate. Yeah, I think those could be benefit by being on a blockchain. Um,
Yeah,
but
there's
yeah, probably not everything. Like it would probably not make sense to have like what was the famous one that collapsed during the internet bubble? I think it was pets.com, right? Like
yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that obviously doesn't belong on a blockchain.
See, yeah, no, definitely not. It's funny because like pets.com, they knew what they were doing. They were just too early.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty crazy to see. But no, I agree with you. Like some of these things are really not necessary on the blockchain, and like yeah, people are gonna realize it more and more with time. And like also with time, we're gonna have more infrastructure in place, so then we are gonna be able to add more things on the blockchain that would make sense. So
Yep.
I mean, it could who knows what could happen in the future. But
Yeah.
this is this is a definitely a good way to end it. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's finish it out right here.
Right.